All right, today we're tackling a challenge that's absolutely critical, but often hiding in plain sight for any leader in this new era of AI. We're talking about the huge and, frankly, growing gap between all the data we're collecting and the data we can actually truly trust. So let's dive right in. So picture it. You're looking at your dashboard, it's gleaming with real-time metrics, and an AI just served up a brand new insight. It looks perfect. But wait a second. What if the data behind it is just wrong? That question, right there, is the one every single leader needs to be asking. It's really the starting point for some of the biggest risks we face today. And this brings us to the heart of the matter. We're past the point of just trying to get more data. We are drowning in data. The real fight now is about trust. It's about validation. It has nothing to do with how much data you have and everything to do with how much of it is actually dependable. And that, well, that requires a whole new way of thinking. So to get our heads around this, here's our game plan. First, we'll define what this data trust gap really is. Then we'll get into the brand new risks it's creating. After that, I'm going to introduce a really powerful concept called the Trustability Score and give you 3 super practical questions you can start using immediately. And we'll wrap up by looking at why the entire future of data is really all about building trust. Okay, let's really frame this problem. We're surrounded by dashboards, reports, metrics, but all that information doesn't automatically mean we have clarity or certainty. The real goal here is to move past just looking at data and get to a place where we have total confidence in the decisions we make based on it. Because this data trust gap, it's not a small problem. It's creating an entirely new landscape of risk. Honestly, the old ways we used to check and verify data, they just don't work anymore. We're dealing with threats that are sneakier, way more complex, and have the potential to cause so much more damage. I mean, just think about how much things have changed. In the past, data was pretty static, right? It was a record of something that happened. But now, it's a completely different ballgame. Data is a living thing. It's being generated by AI, it's being transformed through all these complex pipelines, and it's often being interpreted by a machine before a person ever even sees it. And every single one of those steps is a place where things can go wrong. This new reality opens up a whole can of worms, new risks that are incredibly hard to spot. You could have data pipelines that just silently fail or drift off course. You can get compounding model bias, where a tiny, seemingly innocent bias in one AI model gets fed into another, and it just snowballs. And because all of this is automated, a tiny error can cascade into huge, disastrous decisions across the entire company. But you know what the scariest part is? You often won't even know there's a problem until it's way too late. You've probably heard this old saying, right? It's a classic for a reason. For decades, it's been a healthy reminder to be just a little bit skeptical about numbers you see on a page. Okay, now take that healthy dose of skepticism and put it on steroids, because we're not just talking about statistics in a report anymore. We're talking about insights that are being automatically generated and, more importantly, acted on by machines at scale across your entire business. The potential for damage is just massive. This analogy just nails it. Without a solid framework for data trust, you're basically building a skyscraper on a foundation of sand. Sure, the building might look impressive from the outside, your dashboards might look great, but the whole thing is fundamentally unstable and could crumble at any moment. So, how do we build on solid ground? This is where I'm really excited to introduce a new way of thinking, a framework that's designed specifically for this new era of risk. Let's talk about the Data Trustability Score. Now, the concept here is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. The trustability score isn't some magic number spit out by a computer. It's a strategic framework. It's a way of thinking that forces us to accept a critical truth. Not all data is created equal, so we shouldn't trust all of it equally. It's a structured way to figure out what data you can really hang your hat on. Okay, so let's make this really practical. You don't have to be a data scientist to use this framework. It's an actionable guide. You just have to start asking the right questions. And here they are, the 3 crucial questions to ask. Number 1 is alignment. Where did this data actually come from? How many steps has it been through since its original source? Number 2 is consistency. Does this data tell the same story everywhere? Does it behave consistently across different systems day after day? And number 3, influence. This one's huge. What hidden assumptions or automated transformations have touched this data along the way? What biases might be baked right into it? When you start asking these kinds of questions, it fundamentally shifts your entire perspective on data. You realize the goal isn't just to have the biggest data lake or the fanciest dashboards. The goal is to have the most trustworthy data. That's the real endgame. You see, this is an evolution of what it means to be a leader. Our responsibility isn't just to build systems and analyze the output anymore. Our primary role is now to question everything, to validate the process, and to deeply, truly understand the story behind every single number. So if you take one thing away from our time together, let it be this. Better outcomes, smarter decisions, and truly effective AI, they don't come from having more data. They come from having more trustworthy data. So I'll leave you with this thought. In your organization, are you just chasing volume? Are you actively building trust? Because the answer to that question is what will define your success in this new era.